Video, I'm going to show you how to get the 7M GTE running. In this case, if it's not starting, two things: either fuel, spark, or fuses or electrical problems. So I'm going to show you for the 7M, specifically for the 7M GTE. Alright, so first thing you want to start with, you're probably not getting spark. To find out if you're getting spark or not, it could be a bunch of things. So I got a spark plug here, and this is on coil number 1. And if I try to start the car, you should see spark. Not getting spark, it could be the CPS, which is the cam position sensor. That is pretty much what makes the spark when the car is rotating. That's why we have timing. Second, your coils, your coil packs. In this case, I have IS300 coils, or I mean, you could use a 7M one too. And this would be this plug here. So that's 3. This plug here gets, I mean, I don't really have problems with it, but sometimes you can tell how I electrical taped it, because these wires, they wear out pretty easily and it doesn't have a good connection. So it could be your wirings, your plugs, your igniter. And in this case, I had this igniter resistor go out on me before. So that's 5. And then 6, it could be this fuse here. This fuse is the AM2 38 amp. In this case, I have a 40 amp because this thing's pretty modified, so I need a lot higher amps. It could be ECU, but most of the time it's really not that case unless your car's been flooded. So yeah, so if you're not getting spark, it could be this fuse right here, the resistor, igniter resistor, or your igniter, cam position sensor, your coils, and wiring. So that's it for spark. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've seen a lot of people having problems with the 7M GTEs, not getting it to start, especially on Facebook. But it's always the same problems, like it can't get to start. You have to make sure you have spark, and you have to make sure you have fuel. So we narrowed it down, getting all of that, getting spark. You have to make sure you're getting spark for all of your coils too, because even though one is good, the other ones could be bad. But I mean, it should still do something, like at least burp. And also, it could be your timing too, but the car should at least do something unless the timing's really off. As long as it's timed, you're good. Not getting fuel, you should know, I mean, as long as you're getting spark, now all you have to worry about is fuel. If you're not getting fuel, the easiest thing you can do is take off this pipe right here, the intake pipe, and spray a little bit of gasoline or brake cleaner in there and see if she will start. Alright, so if you're not getting fuel, the quickest way I can find for you guys, if you don't want to take out the whole intake, all you gotta do is take off your brake booster hose, which is this line right over here that's connected over to the intake. Quick easy way, all you do is take this off, right? This hose here that connects to the brake booster. I have a little bit of gasoline. All you do is just pour it in here. Pour a little bit of gasoline into the brake booster. This is gas, by the way, gasoline. I'm gonna pour just a little bit. So I poured some gasoline in there. I'm gonna plug this back into the brake booster. You see how did you see how the car wanted to turn on? Because it was getting a little bit of fuel and it almost turned on. So I'm gonna pour a little bit more and the car should run for a little bit. Alright, so you saw how the car wanted to turn on. In this case, I don't have starting fluid, but starting fluid should guaranteed it would start right up. If your car does that, you have spark, you put fuel in there, and the car wants to turn on, a couple of things. Your fuel pump, your fuel filter could be clogged, or your injectors, and then your wirings to your injectors and your fuel pump. So it could be wiring. Yeah. All right, so I showed you how to check for spark, and if you're not getting spark, how do you know if the CPS is bad, or if the igniter is bad, or the resistor is bad? As long as the fuse is not blown, then you know the fuse is good. It should be getting power. Now the thing is, to test if the igniter is bad or if the resistor is bad, the way I do it, I just get a new one, or I mean a new used one that does work, and that's how I usually find out. Back in the day, I used to just, back when, you know, things were cheaper, I can just go to the junkyard. There was one time there's a junkyard Supra there, and I would just get it from there and it would work. Or I would get parts from other people that have Supras or spare parts that are willing to sell, and that's how I, you know, replace it. Usually your igniter does not go bad and your resistor doesn't go bad. I mean, the resistor does go bad, at least it did for me, but it was only once. Igniter, I didn't really have one go out on me. Actually yeah, I did once. I got an igniter from this one guy. He had a 1JZ and he surprisingly had one and got it for 20 bucks. And that's how, yeah, that's how I do it. There are ways where you can test the igniter. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I guess I could, but you can learn from the forums. The forums is where you go to where people actually show you how to do it in the way. And yeah, so if you're getting spark, you know you're getting fuel, then the Supra should start. And the reason why I'm making this video is because a lot of people have been having a lot of problems with the 7M's GTEs. You know, this is not an easy motor to really work on. I mean, unless you actually know how to work on it, like, you know, experience. I mean, I blew up my engine a couple of times, went through a couple of engines here and there. But in this case, that's because I've always been pushing the heck out of my engine. Like, you can tell it's not really factory anymore. I've had this thing when it was stock, and now it's fully built. Forge rods, Clevite bearings, you know, all the way to the bearings, which I built myself. So I do know my ways here and there. I've had these problems. So if you're having problems starting the 7M GTEs, you know, check all the things like what I just said. And I'm just gonna go over it again. CPS, cam position sensor. Usually these things have problems with connections. As you see here, I don't have a plug for it because mine is hardwired. The reason why I did that, plug sometimes doesn't have a good connection. It's a common problem for the Supras. If this thing is not working, then you definitely won't get spark. And, you know, just like all the rest of the other components. Usually, that doesn't really go out. I mean, I guess it does. Mine did go out once or twice, but that's because I screwed around with it, messed it up once, dropped it once, you know, etc. And yeah, hopefully you people that have 7M GTE problems, this is what I'm saying. How to get it started is, you know, stock. I'm mostly stock or slightly modified. Hopefully you guys can get your Supra running. Sorry, it's really cold and lips are freezing. Yeah, hopefully you guys can get it running. But this is the fuse, which is the AM2 30 amp. The reason why I had to put a bigger one in there in mine, I have all these, you know, high horsepower electrical fuel pump and so on. I just need a higher amp, and the resistor kept blowing out on me, but at the same time it was original. That's why it blew up or didn't work anymore. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys can get the 7M GTE running. I'm making this video because I want the 7Ms to live on. This is a really valuable motor to me, probably some other people too, but only if you know how to work on it. This thing is badass. I mean, I can keep talking all day about this thing. All right, well, peace out.